Ted Cheeseman, current British champion, who now was just sporting icons.
What a fight. Ted Cheeseman versus JJ Metcalf for the British Super Welterweight Championship. Of course, Ted Cheeseman, former British Super Welterweight champion. Of course, he lost that to Scott Fitzgerald. I was there live ringside and I thought Scott Fitzgerald did not win that fight. That is what it is. This one, JJ Metcalf, we know how good he is. We know how durable he is. But what he was lacking was experience, as in levels above experience to where he was fighting. But what a tough man JJ Metcalf is. Now, Ted Cheeseman, I've had countless telephone conversations with Ted Cheeseman. He's a lovely man. And Ted, he's one of these kind of guys where he just loves to fight. And what I've finding lately with Ted Cheeseman is that in one fight, say with Scott Fitzgerald, he was a pure boxer. He was fleet-footed and gliding around the ring. In other fights, like he was with, say, Sam Eggington and other fights before, just gloves up, come forward and just go for a brawl. In this one, Ted Cheeseman was mixing it up. He really was. And it's a very exciting fight. I thought the first 5 rounds, in my opinion, were definitely Ted Cheeseman. In fact, round number 4, I thought Ted Cheeseman was about to finish him off with about a minute to go of round number 4 when he caught JJ Metcalf with a huge shot and backed up. And Ted Cheeseman, he was throwing some big shots and they were landing, but JJ Metcalf took a lot of those shots. But Ted, of course, even though he's very young, and again, he's quite inexperienced as well, considering his amateur pedigree, but as a pro, he is still a relative novice. And I think some people forget that, but he showed great maturity where he didn't just go wild for the fences. He was placing his shots, he was lining them up, he was tip-tapping him, waiting for the opening, and then throw a big bomb. That's all experience. And that's something I felt that JJ Metcalf certainly lacked. And I thought in round number 5, Ted Cheeseman was just going to come out there and just put him away. That's not what happened. And arguably, I mean, you could argue, if you really wanted, to say that JJ Metcalf won that round. For me, it was a close round, but I thought Ted Cheeseman won that round. But the next 2, I felt, with JJ Metcalf. I thought Ted Cheeseman, while at times he was doing his fleet-footed movement with his ring very high IRQ, but using the jab and just throwing the right once in a while, and on the back foot, being very fluid movement. He kind of stopped doing that and just was going back to the old Ted Cheeseman of gloves up, come forward and just go for a brawl. And it wasn't really working for him. And I think that's where JJ Metcalf was starting to nick a couple of rounds. Now, I totally disagree with Sky Sports commentary. I thought that it wasn't as close as what they had it. I thought that Ted Cheeseman was quite the way up. He really was. But a cut for Ted Cheeseman, I mean, maybe that kind of played a bit of a part because in round number 5, that cut really seemed to open around the right eye of Ted Cheeseman, where maybe it was starting to hamper his vision a little bit. And maybe that's why JJ Metcalf was starting to nick a couple of the rounds. And maybe Ted wasn't as fluid as what he was earlier on. Potentially. But either way, I think from round number 8 onwards, Ted Cheeseman, he pretty much would just took over for me. And again, the Sky Sports commentary team would totally disagree with me on that one. And maybe some of you would. But I thought Ted, he looked like the one that was really going to, if there was going to be a stoppage, it was going to be Ted Cheeseman. But then JJ Metcalf, he pulled out a punch. And as much as Ted Cheeseman said at the end of the round he was okay and he wasn't hurt by it, it looked like he was. I ain't going to lie, it looked like he was. His legs stiffened and he had nothing coming back. His gloves went immediately up and he started bobbing and moving. Again, that's experience, isn't it? So when you get hurt, if you back away, your opponent immediately knows that you're hurt and will just throw caution to the wind. Ted didn't really do that. He was saying, well, come on, and was just absorbing the shots for the most part. But again, a lot of them were missing because he kept bobbing and moving out the way of JJ Metcalf's punches. So again, Ted, he did evade that mini storm, if you like. But JJ Metcalf, he had his moments as well after that as well. But it wasn't up until round number 11. And to be honest with you, I thought, well, you know what, both these guys, they're put on a hell of a performance. JJ Metcalf can certainly announce himself on this level, for British level, for sure. And I'd love to see him take on a Anthony Fowler or Kieran Conway and a Senior Byfield or many others, okay? But I think JJ Metcalf had nothing to be ashamed of when right on the bell of round number 11, Ted Cheeseman lands a left hook and JJ Metcalf goes down, and he couldn't really get up. I know he attempted to get back up, but his legs were all over the shop. The referee called it off. Some people may argue, say, but he had a minute left of the round of the rest period. He could have just sat there for a minute. Maybe he would have recuperated, give him every fighting chance to get into the final round to see if maybe he can get to the end of the fight. But ultimately, you have to remember, even though it's a 10 count, it's not 10 seconds. A good 30 seconds of that was already gone. So he would have only had about 30 odd seconds left sitting down before the bell went again. So for me, that wasn't long enough for him to recuperate. So I agree with the stoppage for the referee over JJ Metcalf, and Ted Cheeseman is a now 2-time British super welterweight champion. Congratulations to the Big Cheese. Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you on the next video.